Your voice, your community station. You are listening to IPL Radio.
I must be in trouble because I've got the boss here today. Am I in trouble?
No, absolutely not. No. We love your show, and it's a great opportunity to get businesses in and community groups, so you're definitely not in trouble.
Oh, that's good to hear. But we do have a pretty big announcement to share.
We do. So from the 24th of September to the 1st of October, IPL Radio will be broadcasting live from the Perth Royal Show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
That is going to give us a whole lot of exposure, isn't it?
It's so a lot of our supporters are Rockingham and Kwinana because that's where we're based.
Yep.
But we really want to grow up to Perth and beyond to the northern suburbs.
Yep.
And be a community radio station that incorporates the whole of WA. That's
Yeah.
where I'd like to take us.
Oh, well, big dreams. And we've all got big dreams, and this is like a step in the process to making that a reality, isn't it?
It is, because there's so much good stuff that's happening all over WA. And, Rockingham and Kwinana is awesome, but we really want to grow beyond to Perth and up to Joondalup up way. And the Perth Royal Show is our first opportunity really to grow that side of the market.
Yeah. How many people do they actually get going through there?
I think an estimate is around 350,000 over
Oh,
8 days.
wow.
Yes.
So,
And this year is significant.
yeah.
Because 2020 got cancelled because
Yes.
of COVID. 21 went ahead, but was
They had
very-
reduced ticketing numbers, didn't they?
And even like people weren't sure whether to go because they weren't sure where it was going to carry on because a lot of events were being cancelled back in 21.
And I think the weather was rather crap too.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 21 wasn't the biggest, because of COVID and everything. So
Yep,
this is the
limited.
first since 2019 really where it's
Free
massive.
for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
And
awesome.
we're going to be there.
We're going to be there, and we're going to be next to the Blue Tree.
Great
parky
place
area.
to be.
So where people, they're kind of tired of looking around the rides and stuff, and they just want to sit quietly and have something to eat and enjoy the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And
Bit
so
of
we'll just be there.
entertainment from us.
Yeah.
So we'll obviously have the opportunity to promote the businesses that we love and
Absolutely,
things like
yeah.
that. So are there opportunities for people to come on board?
Yep. So we've got until next Friday, which
Yep.
is I think the 16th. We're doing a special drive to get some more sponsors on board. So we're offering the top tier, which normally $12.50 a month,
Yep.
for just $500, which is the mid tier.
Yeah.
And so for that, you'll get your logo on the banners. We'll have an advert every hour for the whole 8 days.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a huge exposure for those that decide to come on board with us.
Oh, wow. That is an awesome opportunity. Absolutely awesome. I've got a few businesses in mind that I'm going to have to get that information to. Home Realty. I'm coming for you. But we've also got something happening. We're giving away some tickets today
That's
too.
right, yeah. So there's a restaurant in Fremantle that's doing a comedy show. I think they're doing it like once a month or every other month.
We love to laugh.
We went there, me and Apple and a few others went there when they had the opening.
Yeah.
And they basically gutted it out so it's like its original architecture kind of thing.
Oh, a bit of
So
history there.
Yeah, it's a very cool building. And the guys they had on there were really funny last time. So we're going to put a post
You'd
up on
hope so,
Facebook.
it being a comedy show.
Beautiful, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they were really
Yeah.
really cool.
How
Yeah.
do people win these tickets for tomorrow night?
So they just text comedy,
Yep.
the word comedy, to 046 777 1416.
Yep.
We'll put a post up on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a draw later on today.
Okay.
And the winners will be notified and they'll get their free tickets.
Oh, wow. What a way to spend a Friday night laughing. That's
It's
what
a
we
really-
all want.
It's a really cool place to do.
Today is Are You OK Day. It's a pretty big day for us in the IPL studio because we promote mental health like there's no tomorrow. And you run an essential course, which is mental health first training. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been doing training now for 7 years. And the mental health first aid course originated in the late 90s. And it was done by a guy called Professor Tony Jorm, who was part of a research back in them days about mental illness. And the results were quite negative. There was a lot of stereotypes, and people just didn't really understand what mental illness was. And so him and his wife, Betty Kitchener, who's a survivor of mental illness herself, They put together this course. You get a manual with it. It's very extensively researched.
Yes.
So I've got this vision of Betty and John sitting at their kitchen table going, what should we put in the manual this year? It's not like that. They ask a lot of people from, Europe, UK, America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
And they ask mental health professionals, so your psychs and your psychiatrists, case managers, but they also ask people with experience and carers.
Yeah.
So where there's an overlap, so where everyone agrees this is how someone should be treated, that's when it gets put in the manual.
Okay.
And in the course. And it's a 2-day course. It's nationally accredited. And it teaches people, I always say we're not teaching people to be counsellors. It teaches people how to recognise the early signs.
Yes.
So there are signs where people, because we're quite habitual by nature, we like certain patterns.
Yeah. When
people start moving away from those patterns, that's when there's a potential that there's a problem there. So when people stop going to church, or they stop volunteering, or they stop going to work, or they stop
doing what they love,
they stop doing what they enjoy. That's one of the things that you have to have in order to get diagnosis of depression.
Yeah.
Is you're no longer getting enjoyment out of the things that you used to enjoy.
And a withdrawal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how important is asking the question, are you okay?
It's very important. I can't say that enough. But I think when you ask that question, there are certain safety things which often people don't talk about. But you can't ask someone if they're okay, and if they then say no, you just walk away. If you ask that question in a serious way, you've got to be prepared to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes Are You Okay Day is like it's trending, so people go, oh, it's Are You Okay Day, therefore we have to ask that question. But if you can't cope with the answer, then it's not better not to ask it, because I don't like saying that, but you've got to be able to stay in that conversation.
Well, research suggests that 4 out of 10 Australians actually don't want to ask the question, are you okay, because they think it's better suited by a expert, by a mental health professional. I'm not sure that
It's a really hard one, because if you've spotted there's a problem and you're like, I don't know, I can't cope if they say no kind of thing, maybe the best thing is to do a mental health first aid course.
Absolutely.
So you get that education.
Yes.
And then ask that question, because if you ask that question and you can't cope with the answer, you could potentially make things worse.
Yeah.
Because then you just walk away and you've just left them really vulnerable.
Yeah. And it's about having that toolbox to say, okay, this person isn't okay. I can supply them with resources, with places to go.
Absolutely.
So that they can find that the support that they actually require. Just because you asked, are you okay, you don't have to have the answers.
And I think the thing that we really promote in the course is, we're not saying be a counsellor. We're not, even if you're not really good at listening, the main thing is to get them to go to a GP.
Yeah.
The GP is the first port of call. If you don't think they're okay, encourage them to go and talk to the GP, and then GP can make referrals and do what they need to do.
And there are other organisations like Beyond Blue, Lifeline, the Black Dog Institute, Headspace. There's other places.
There's some really cool services out there.
Yeah, really great services that you can recommend to people. And there's also like a lot of phone lines, things that you can call immediately when you think that someone actually needs immediate help. But it's about having that toolbox, isn't it?
It's about knowing what those resources are out there, and we can put some links when we put this up on YouTube and Facebook to say, call Lifeline, this is the number and stuff. But there are so many resources out there, and that's one of the things we cover in the course as well, is where to go to get help.
Yeah.
There's some really good, RUA as an example, RUA RUAH, they do something called Getting By, Getting Ahead.
Yeah. They're actually close to here, aren't they?
They are. They're
yes.
just in Rockingham,
Yeah.
down the road.
Okay.
And they're a mental health Aboriginal mental health organisation.
Yeah.
And they do this this document. It's like 100 pages long, and it lists all the different services.
Wow, 100 pages long.
Yeah. But the really good thing I love about this thing is that they don't do it alphabetically. They do it by the kind of service they offer.
Okay, yeah, that's important. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to rummage through 100 or like 200 entries and work out
which one suits me.
No, you just go, like, there's a section on eating for less than $10. There's a section on financial issues. There's a section on DV. So you just go to that section that's relevant for you, and then there's all these different agencies.
And it's funny, when we ask the question, are you okay, you often think of depression, but there's often a lot of other issues when are you okay. It can be that financially that they're suffering at the moment and they just need someone to talk to. It could be that they're having relationship issues. You know, there are a range of different things. It's not just about depression.
And one of the biggest things is caring. If you're a carer, particularly, you know, my mum had dementia, and that really is so hard watching someone you love just fade.
Absolutely.
And the mental health issues for carers is massive.
Yeah, and they're probably, if you know a carer, reach out to them and say, are you okay today? And it can be as simple as offering them, do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be the words, are you okay? It's about being available to them, to go, here's something random. It could be a small box of chocolates. It could be a flower. It could be your time. But just to let them know that you're there.
Absolutely.
But we have more going on at IPL we need to talk about.
We do. We've got lots going on at the moment.
What else is coming up?
So we're going to be at the
Channel 7
Rockingham Beach.
Said it correctly. Thank you very much for that.
So yeah, that's in November, I think.
Yes.
And that's on the foreshore. So we're going to be there. We're going to be broadcasting live. We'll have some interviews with some of the jockeys. We might be able to get some video of the horse race itself as well, which would be cool. And that would be another opportunity for us to be out there in the community, because we need to do more community engagement.
Yep.
We can't just sit here and expect people to find us. We have to find people where they're at.
Yeah.
And the Perth Royal Show and the Channel 7
Rockingham Beach Cup
are just ways that we can engage in community.
Yeah, and so we're always looking for new ways as well.
Absolutely,
but a part of that is actually coming in contact with us. So if you've got information, if you're a business that wants to become part of our IPL, how do they contact us? How do they get involved?
So they can email us info@iplradio.org.au. They can call me on 046 777 1416, or they can just drop in.
And there's actual benefits becoming, associated with us, is that we are a not-for-profit organisation. So becoming a sponsor for you is beneficial, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, when we do the more events that we're doing, so it's not just, our listeners that are listening, we're out there in the community, we're spreading the message. We'll have logos printed on the banners and stuff, so people will be seen and be heard by the community, which is what they're trying to reach.
That's exactly right. Part of that is we need volunteers.
Yep.
I'm a volunteer.
Yep. So we need more volunteers. We're going to be doing a bit of a campaign over the next week or so to get more volunteers on board. And we're looking particularly for volunteers for event work.
Yep.
To people who can go to the Perth Royal Show, who can go to the Channel 7 Rockingham Beach Cup,
You're
and
getting
all the other
good
different events.
Yeah,
So
and if you want to become a volunteer, you can contact us on our Facebook page. We have little seminars too fairly regularly, don't we, where they can actually come in and listen to you talk about what's actually involved.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
what they can be involved. They could be sitting in this chair doing my job, really, couldn't they? Do we have availability on our schedule?
We do. We've just changed the way that we operate, because what we were doing before was a new person was coming in, we were giving them a stroke straight away. So what we'll do from now on is that they'll co-host for a while, and so they'll build up their confidence, and then when they're ready, they can have their own show.
And there's always a chair in my show.
Absolutely, yeah.
I always love someone to talk to.
Yeah, and your show is such an important, because you're so community engaged.
Yeah.
So bringing in those businesses, bringing in those, like we had Teresa last week, I think.
Yeah.
And those are people that wouldn't necessarily be heard by, mainstream media.
Yes.
And so we want to give them an opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel so privileged to be able to give that opportunity and sit in the chair and engage with people in that way. It's actually opened my mind to so many different organisations that do require support, and being able to work with them to make sure that I'm highly engaged with them. It helps my mental health. So it's a benefit to me.
The act, belong, commit thing, isn't it? Like,
yes.
Because, you said this morning that you're so busy with Street Hassle, and they're another organisation which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more you do and the busier you are, the better your mental health.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thank you very much for letting me be here. But I am going to put you on the spot and give you, what do you reckon the best shows on IPL are?
Well, I have to say the Jess address.
Yeah, of course you do, because you're sitting right here. But I know there are other great shows, and I love Harry's show.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he is just so off the cuff and
just so funny.
He's bizarre, but the things that he talks about just get you engaged
And
because they're just weird and wonderful.
The things that he talks about aren't even interesting, but he makes
It's
it
the
interesting.
yeah, absolutely.
Like some of the crazy stuff that he's talked about.
Organs that you can live without. I mean, some of his Amazon, he reads some Amazon reviews, which are just highly comical because the product itself, you're like, what is that? And then he goes on to like ping pong diplomacy. And I didn't know what ping pong diplomacy is, but if you look into the history of that, it's phenomenal. And I mean, he's educated me. But besides Harry, who's your other?
There's just so many for me to name them all. I think Peter does a really good.
Oh,
in
he's
terms of
amazing.
Interviews,
Yeah.
Peter is a really good interviewer.
He's quite community engaged as
He
well.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's done some really cool. And we went out to the homeless thing at Salvo's last
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yes.
And he did about 4 or 5 interviews in that morning, so
Yeah.
that was really cool. Who else have we got? Jack. I can't really. Yeah,
Jack's been around for quite a while now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he joined in January 21, so I think he's been around like nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And that's one of the things where his disability does not prevent him just absolutely lighting up the airways, doesn't he? He's got so much to offer, and he's so entertaining.
He's just so entertaining and so inspiring. And when he does an interview, especially when we had insight training here, and there was like 10 people around this table, and they were just hanging off every word he was saying.
Yeah, and he offers a really unique view on things, one which often will trigger you, I didn't think of it that way, but because he is a unique person, he offers unique views, which I think is, just a credit to the fact that we do have IPL and we can do this.
And it's all about diversity as well.
Yeah.
There's another show that's reasonably new. It's on a Wednesday night about LGBTI and transgender.
Yep.
And I've got to say, I've never really had much to do with the transgender community.
Yes.
And there's a lot of stuff that you read about different types of gender out there. There's like something like 80 different types of gender. And it's very easy to fall into, that's different from my day and all that kind of stuff. But watching the guys and listening to their show has really educated me about some of the transgender issues.
Yeah.
And for people in the LGBTI community, they're something like 4 or 5 times more likely to be have mental health or suicidal ideation, particularly if they're not accepted by their family.
Yeah, and so their show is so important because it gives them a voice and to say, hey, I'm here, this is my point of view. And I think that, IPL does open your eyes to the fact there are so many different points of views, and we do have such a diverse range of presenters.
That's the thing that really excites me, is that there are so many different opinions. We have people on the left wing of politics, on the right wing of politics. It's just, I love it. There's so much diversity. We've got disability, we've got LGBTI, we've got our first show on Sunday was about Aboriginal and First Nation issues.
Excellent.
Marissa and Sandra and LJ, so they're doing a show now Sunday nights, and that's cool. It's we've been going 2 years and we've never really had a proper representation from First Nation people. So
yeah, and it's something that you've wanted, I know, for a while. Yeah. So wow, we've got more people sitting in the chair than ever, but also an open chair for people that actually do want to come in and share their views. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I'm glad that my show's your favourite. I'm going to be singing that to all the presenters lately.
Put it in the group chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in the group chat. We're going to have What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. Great way to finish that little interview.
Your voice, your community station. You are listening to IPL Radio.